gonna have some grown man talk. And we're gonna show y'all two different ways and perspectives. You see how I dress, and part of the luxury of being who I am is I get to dress this way as well as be the vice president of a company. And then to my right here,
what's up?
He gets to dress this way or chooses to dress this way, like I choose to dress this way. But you own a multi-million-dollar company.
Correct.
And introduce yourself to the people and tell us about your company.
People, what's up? This is Jay Morrison. I'm the CEO of Morrison Holdings, which owns pretty much 5 companies. I own a real estate company. I do business with Caldwell Banker as a real estate associate. I also own Young Minds Ken, which is the first ever school uniform collection by Urban Fashion Label. Probably my biggest project to date. I also have Jay Morrison Productions. I do a show on NBC called Open House NYC. I have a production company. We're working on a new show at HGTV now. I also own a nonprofit, Project Culture Change. I run that as a CEO. And there's another business I'm probably forgetting somewhere. And what's that? Huh?
So the amazing piece of this is that he's got so many businesses that he can't even keep track of them.
Yeah.
However, he does keep track of that bank account nicely.
Yes, I do. Wells Fargo app on dial.
So the reason this conversation is important to me is for several reasons. And I think it's important to you for several reasons. I wanted to talk about your theory on our community. When I say our community, we'll say the black community.
Right, black, Hispanic.
Underserved
in general.
Underserved, low income even.
Right. You can be white and underserved, Korean underserved.
What is your theory on how we can move forward?
Right, I like to be a little more aggressive than calling it a theory and actually call it a solution.
Okay.
Right, because it's worked. Like I'm proof that it works.
Okay.
So my solution on how we elevate as a community or as underserved community is attitude, ownership, and appearance.
So attitude, is that a state of mind?
State of mind all day, and it's a understanding of the bigger play, the bigger world, right? So, like when I came up, I came up in the '90s. I'm 32. I came up in the '90s, and when I seen the dope boys making money, my attitude was like, that's my fastest. Well, either ball, rap, or drugs was our way out. That's the wrong attitude. That's BS. You know that. You don't play ball, you don't rap,
no,
and you don't sell drugs.
No.
But you out.
Yeah.
Right? I don't play ball, I don't rap, and I don't sell drugs anymore.
Right.
And I'm gone. So everyone could reach their maximum potential if they have the right attitude and understand that your options aren't limited. That's one of the biggest attitudes. And then also in our community, especially to our grown men, like I went to rehab in Vegas, right, for was it 4th of July, whatever that was.
Yeah, that's a popular club.
Right. Popular pool party. And I was so disappointed. Like I dress down. Like I probably dress up 2 days a week, the most. You know what I'm saying? I do it because you look like money, you get money, right? Like I have a $10 million house in Alpine, New Jersey. I'm selling. I do a lot of high end stuff. I'm having lunches with multi-millionaires, hundreds of millionaires, like old white Jewish dudes who I would never think in my life would want to do business with a kid that knows how to cook crack. You know what I'm saying? But I was able to, elevate myself by my appearance, which we'll get into. But my point is, if our community has the right attitude and understands that there's bigger plays out there, we can start to elevate. You know what I'm
saying? And so that's the attitude portion, the ownership portion of your solution.
Correct. Ownership, I think, can start as simple as real estate. Owning your first house, making that a family goal. You know what I'm saying? Like instead of us going to the club and balling out, like y'all just F the club up and spent 10 racks, 15 racks, 10, you know what I'm saying? But what do you own? What are you passing down to your kids? Can you pass them bottles of Ciroc down to your daughter when you die? Or when, you know what I'm saying? So it's about ownership, like building a legacy. So that it can start as simple as real estate, owning a single family house, 2-family house, an apartment, or it can be owning your own business. So like for me, I was kind of forced to own my own business because I have 3 felonies in 3 different states. I caught a drug trafficking charge at 20. And there's probably nobody's going to hire me and pay me the kind of money that I want to make. So I had to create my own business and create my own lanes in order to make the kind of bread I want to make and if I want to live legally. So ownership is a big part of what's missing in our community. And actually an old Jewish dude put me onto that. He was like, the Jewish in America, they were in the ghettos too. They didn't come over here rich.
Ghetto is actually what is actually a
came
term,
from Holocaust, right?
Yeah, is actually a term for Jewish neighborhoods in Europe.
Right.
Yeah,
and they came from poor, underserved environments. Well, he said what was different about the Jewish community and how they rose and where the black community or Hispanic community is staying stagnant is that, one, they work together and they decided to own their own businesses. No one was giving the Jewish guys opportunities. So they said, you know what, we're going to create our own shoe stores. We're going to create our own food markets. We're going to create our own, we can create our own lanes. So as African Americans, whether you got felonies, whether you're in college, whatever it is, if you can create your own lane and understand owning a business or owning a property and leveraging that equity in the property to, you know what I mean? Like, there's a whole bunch of ways. I don't want to get too sophisticated, but the point is, once you start to own, that's one solution to elevation.
So we'll stop right there, because also inside that ownership thing and inside the idea of communities supporting one another and unifying, you know, blacks, Latinos maybe as well, but blacks, you know, the post-traumatic slave disorder, and I hate going back to that, but there's some things that need to be addressed there in how we don't support one another because of how we see ourselves and how we see each other. There's a lack of love there.
It is.
Right. And one of the things that many communities have going for them that black communities and black people haven't had the luxury of when you attempt to unify is that the culture is homogenous, right?
Okay.
So when you talk about Jews or Italians or even some Asian cultures, you're talking about people who have a unified language, a unified spiritual belief system,
right?
A unified culture, and a unified experience, right? Those kind of qualities make it a little bit easier to come together on a communal level, because you'll know that even in the black community, you'll have black Christians who don't get along with black Muslims. Right. But they're all black.
That's all part of attitude, though. We got to see the bigger picture, right? And I lost the point when I was talking, when I was saying about rehab. I was saying I went to rehab, and I never in my life before have I seen 3,000 black men butts out. Mm-hmm. Right, like that's what I'm saying. I dress down. Like, yo, I wear comfortable jeans. I wear true sevens. Like the whole bit. I get fresher than most of y'all out there, to be honest. Like, I get fresh. Mm-hmm. But you never, like, I'm a grown man, dog. Like, I don't want to be around. I don't know if you have kids or not, but you say you had a daughter or whatever. Yeah. I don't want to be walking past your daughter, dog, with my butt out. I don't want you walking past my daughter with your butt out, or my mom, or my grand. Like, come on, dog. Like, wear comfortable pants. But
I definitely know that the difference becomes time and place.
Correct.
Right? The difference becomes time and place, because I definitely sag.
Right.
But I also know when not to. Right?
Attitude.
And yeah, it's attitude, it's maturity, and it's knowing time and place. And I think that, you know, a lot of people try to draw definitive lines. You know, sagging your pants is really just.
But there's comfortable sag, there's excessive sag.
There's levels to this shit.
Right.
But point being is that, you know, when you start drawing lines, you got to remember that, you know, young men, and it's not even just black men, it's predominant in black male attitude, but, you know, a lot of it is not giving a fuck, which is rebellion. It is a rebellion. I tell people all the time, like,
but who wins with that?
Well, it just depends. It depends on what your win is, and I'm not saying that what you're saying is wrong.
No, right?
Because if advancement is your goal,
right? If your goal is to be cool, sag to your knees. If your goal is to be cool,
right? But don't expect
to get your mom out the hood, to get your daughter out the hood, your daughter to be in private school. Don't expect unless you're a rapper or an athlete who can run a ball fast. You can't excessively sag. I sag. I ain't on my belly button.
Right.
I sag comfortably.
Right, but you know time and place. And I think the point is even the luxuries that I have as a vice president here is based on.
It's a luxury.
Well, but it's also based on an amount of work that I put in so that this corporation right here saw what I was doing, or when I got into the radio industry, saw what I was doing, and they wanted to capitalize on the culture as well as capitalize on my brand, right? So in essence, when I was 15 and I got put on the radio, it was, all right, we're going to put this guy on because we want to capitalize on him. And I saw it as an opportunity to also advance myself, right? Which is a state of mind. It is a level of awareness, and it is a level of, you know, understanding how to navigate, right? And I think that also plays into the attitude thing that you were talking about. And then I was aware enough at the time to start businesses, marketing companies, start doing events, throwing concerts and things like
solution.
that expanded.
Attitude ownership. You're hitting right on it.
Right. But I also, thanks to my mom, was taught hard work. Wasn't allowed to not have a job. That was never an option. As soon as you can get a work permit, I'm from California, you get a work permit at 14. As soon as you was able to get a work permit, you working. I don't care what you got going on, right?
But everybody didn't have that luxury of saying having a parent that may have been.
It may not.
So we always talk about issues in our community, right? You got all the black leaders, all the motivational speakers, all of that. Everybody talking about the issues. Talk about the issues. So me 5 years ago, I was like, everybody talking about issues, but where's the solutions though? We could talk about the problems all day.
Well, you know why? Because the main solution is and I like yours. The one thing that no one likes to talk about because it's mean or it's it's not sensitive to people's feelings. The one thing is taking responsibility for your actions.
Correct.
And taking responsibility for your shit that you do on a day-to-day, right? Taking responsibility for understanding that your appearance, the way you speak, right? The way you carry yourself, the way you respect other people and the thing that they care about. But
if we don't know it, we can't do it. That's the whole point. Think about all our role models. Who is saying that when I say, hey, what up, E? What's up, right? It's cool. That's how we talk. What's up? How you doing? You know what I'm saying? But now when I go in a business meeting, they say, Jay, how you doing? I say, I'm great. Thank you. How are you? Just that simple right there. I teach that to kids in inner city schools. I call it I'm well, thank you. 6 words that'll change your life. I'm well, thank you, and you. So you got a kid from Newark, dreads, braids, weave, whatever, right? You go into a job interview and they ask you, Shaniqua, how you doing? The girl could say, I'm all right.
Why you gotta say Shaniqua? Why her name gotta be Shaniqua from Newark, Jay?
I know about 17,000 Shaniquas in Newark.
Come on, man. That's fucked up. You stereotyping.
Brittany. Brittany in Newark. She goes to a job interview and say, Brittany, how are you doing? Brittany can say, I'm all right. I'm cool. I'm good. Or Brittany can say, I'm well, thank you. And you?
But
it changes people's perspective.
It does, but I'm hard on people, man, and and I'm comfortable with taking the rap and being the target of you guys that feel like I'm too hard on young people or that I'm not as forgiving.
Tough love, it's cool.
But it's not that. The access to information, okay, the ability to see people or things that you want to aspire to be a part of or be like is everywhere.
Right.
So the I'm well, thank you concept, phenomenal, right? But a 12-year-old, 13-year-old, 14-year-old, I believe, no matter what your background, you can take onus upon yourself to take the initiative to want to be better at articulating your thoughts, right? At speaking and making eye contact with people, at dressing a certain way. Right. I believe that, right? And the reason I believe that is because we've watched it for hundreds of years in this country, immigrants who come from all over the world and just have the notion to see, oh, okay, that's how the successful people act and dress. If I want to be successful, I'm going to do that. That's common sense. That's common sense.
But common sense is not common.
But a lot of people hold on to, well, my people was done this way, or it's unfair that I live in these circumstances. Or my mom and dad made these certain choices and this was the outcome and now I can't overcome because emotionally my mom, and if I had my mom, or if I had all that's cop-outs to me.
I know, but people don't have enough voice, enough role models to get to that next level. Like that's why I've been relevant in our community the last 6 months. It's because when you take those kids, I was that kid. I had everything to be pissed off about. We grew up on free lunch, food stamps, embarrassed going to going to welfare, abusive pops, dope fiend dad, like watch my mom get abused, all type of, every cliche black whatever. I was a high school dropout at 16. Like every cliche black whatever I went through, and I was mad at the world. Everything.
And who was you really mad at? The world or yourself?
My circumstances.
So you was mad at the world. You was placing blame.
I was placing blame.
And so at what point did you stop placing blame?
About 25. It took that long to mature. Because there was nobody there to say what you're saying. Like you can't assume a 12, 13-year-old, 14-year-old kid going through all the emotional stress of the ghetto. Like seeing all type of crazy stuff. And your only outlets, the only people you see that are celebrating are rappers, athletes, and the dope boys. It's the only people that you see the most celebrating.
All right.
So you can't expect a 14, 15-year-old kid in the hood from Brooklyn, Bronx, Queens, Jersey, Patterson, wherever. You can't expect a kid in the hood to be like Detroit, Cleveland, Miami, to be like, yo, I want to be like this cornball guy. You think he's a cornball? He speaks properly, dressed properly, and he doesn't relate to your community. He grew up you assume he grew up in a middle class neighborhood, went to college, had all things you didn't have. That's what I assumed. I hated my family that went to college. When we had family cookouts, when I was a dope boy, I put up my biggest car, all my jewelry, because I hate y'all. Y'all went to college. Y'all had the easy route, and I had it hard. And that's the rebellion part, right? Until we learn that, look, I got those powers too. And that's my message to the community. We all got superpowers. Like, you got superpowers. This platform you got is a superpower. You can use it for good or for evil. Ross, Hove, Diddy, they all got superpower. You got influence. They could say, look, I'm a rapper by day. I rap about dope and choppers in the trunk. But you know what? That's not my real life. That's my old life, maybe. But it's not my real life. Y'all should be looking to do different things with your life. So I hold our rappers and role models responsible, and I hold myself responsible. I'm one of the few that made it. So I got a responsibility to make sure I give that same message back. So some kid out there, some ex-con, some felon, some ex-high school dropout, somebody could be inspired to be like, yo, this dude got 3 felonies and 3 offenses. I was on Rikers Island, C-74, Mod 3 Upper. Miss Watson was my CO. My first time having Chinese food was on Rikers Island. Thor from Fort Greene brought it in. You know what I'm saying? It's like real life stuff. So if that dude can now sell $10 million houses at Alpine, run a $40 million school uniform company, and do all other things I'm doing, yo, it's possible without rapping or running the ball.
Yeah, I mean, I do believe in charity. I think though, you know, I get frustrated because I feel like we have conditioned our communities to expect people to hand out.
Right.
And maybe that's why I take such a hard stance on the other side when people are like, yeah, but you should be, and you should be. And I'll be like, no, you should be.
But don't give your money.
No, I give my time and I give my
time,
words.
Get an opportunity. That's the biggest gift you could give somebody is teaching them how you fish out here.
Yeah.
That's all I'm trying to do.
And I'm fine with that. But I'm going to tell anybody watching this right now, and I'm going to tell you right now, this America that we live in is not about anything except money. And unfortunately, we have been raised in a country, they don't give a fuck about what you going through.
Word.
They don't.
Nobody cares.
Nobody cares, right? Your school system sucks because the neighborhood you live in is full of government housing and ain't nobody paying taxes.
And they don't care.
And because they're in government housing, there's no property taxes, which means the school is shit, which means that the good teachers don't want to teach there because the teachers that are great want to go make a bigger salary, right?
Correct.
So now you're suffering and your school is suffering and you're sitting there like, yo, how come nobody don't give a fuck about me? It's because this country is about money, and you have to give a fuck about yourself.
Thank you. That's the whole point of attitude, ownership, and appearance.
And then appearance. Let's talk about that.
Right.
Third point.
Our appearance is
kind of what we were talking about with the sag.
It all ties in.
But like I sit in front of y'all every day, like, and the reason I say it's a luxury is because I work for a company that I get to represent myself any way I want by choice. Now, when clients come through, presidents come through, people around here, they'll tell me they'll see me. I put on a suit. You know what I'm saying? I wear certain outfits based on the environment.
Correct.
Right? You wear certain outfits based on your environment.
Based on my environment, right? So if me and you, if we were going to meet at a lounge or a club, I would have did something different. Like I want to do something different, honest. I want to come out here with a black tee, some trues on.
But you have to set a tone.
I want to set a tone and show the elevation of Jay Morrison, right?
And we wanted to show the contrast.
Right, absolutely.
Because you got to be able to see the contrast.
Right. So that appearance is like how you look says everything to the world. You're your own billboard, right? So how you look, that fits the VP of a hip hop station, right? One of the largest music. Right. It's a uniform, right?
Everybody wakes up every day. And no matter if you claim you keeping it real or you going to do a job, whatever, we all have choices in the clothes that we opt to buy. Right? So don't try to I'm keeping it real, son. I'm from New York. You only wear Timberlands, or you only do this and we only do that. That's because you've been programmed to think that is your uniform.
Correct. And this is how I look at it.
Your outfit, your character that you want to put on. That's the way you want to represent yourself.
You said money runs everything. I totally agree with you, right? So I look at everything from a financial perspective. I say, does what I put on today help put my daughters through school? Does what I put on today help my mom get out the hood? So ask yourself that. It's like whatever you're wearing, stop worrying about being cool. Like cool second. But first, for me, it was about it felt good getting my mom's a crib. That felt amazing. Like we grew up with like 6 people in a 2-bedroom. Like, it was crazy. You know what I'm saying? Felt good getting her a crib and renovating the whole kitchen and all that. But that was all about me having the right attitude, ownership, and sacrificing my appearance. Yo, I would love to be here with a dope Cuban on, a black tee, some Prada kicks on, and some trues. I would love to be here like that right now. But that necessarily not gonna set the tone for my brand and what we're trying to get across. So I make a sacrifice in my comfortability. Like, this is cool, and this is some dope. You know what I mean, this is some good threads I got on. But it's about, does that get my mom out the hood? That make me more money.
Burgundy skate highs, though, my nigga. You don't know about them, you know what I'm saying? Burgundy skate highs is where it's at, my G.
But you know what, that canally made the fit. You know what I'm saying, my man? You know, little Burberry Whiphead cufflinks. You know what I'm saying? You know, a little something just a pop.
But anyway, man, check out my dude. What is there a website? Is there a place?
Absolutely.
How do people engage with you on a regular basis if they need this kind of dialogue?
Appreciate it. Website, jmorrison.net, JAYMORRISON. That's my website, jmorrison.net. I'm on Twitter Instagram at jmrrealestate. Our school uniform company is called Young Minds Ken. We give, like you said, the school systems. We give 30% of our profits from our school uniform company back to the schools, trying to improve the budgets for inner city schools. So we have a dope school uniform line, reversible blazers, cool, trendy school uniforms. We give money back, and we give $1,000 referral fee to anybody that refers us to school. So you can call our hotline 1-855-SELL-YMC and get a G for referring us to school. Everybody eats.
You know, before we get out of here too, you said you dropped out at 16.
Correct.
Right? And I know a lot of young people go through that moment. There's a moment in your life. There's a lot of moments in your life, but one of the first ones is that fear of getting out of high school.
Right.
That fear of like, okay, what's going to happen now? It's going to happen again when you get out of college, but the first time it happens when you're getting out of high school.
What's next?
What's next? What am I going to do? Who am I going to be? And there's also that pressure of like, damn, you know, girls, you know, for fellas, it's, you know, girls is starting to go with the fly guys, the guys that got the nice clothes, the guys that got money in their pocket, so you start making decisions based on, you know, how am I going to get a girl, right, as a young man.
Right.
Explain to us what was happening for you at 16.
Well, at 16, I dropped out of school because I left home. I got in a beef with my stepdad. He choked me. I choked him back.
What was that beef about? Was it like Baby Boy? Was it like the Baby Boy movie? Like, yo, this my woman. You in my house disrespecting my house. I don't care if that's your mom or not. It's gonna be one king in this household.
It was like, boy, do what I say do, and you know what I mean. I don't want no back talk. Like, take out the garbage. Like, you know what I mean. Just really flexing on me. And at the time, I was getting a little bigger. I was 16.
It happened.
And it was like, you know, and I went through a lot of abuse, like my whole growing up with the guy. And you know, he choked me, and I choked him back. And it was like, what up?
Yeah.
And then my mom, y'all stop, and I left. And I was like, you know what? F school. I'm gonna hit the streets, and I'm gonna get this money. I went back my senior year, went to like a twilight evening program. I did end up graduating high school, but 4 months later, drug trafficking in Baltimore, Nebraska. I got locked up on Riverside, up in Harlem. Got locked up with 250 grams and a loaded gun. Sent my ass away.
So, do you feel like when you made that decision at 16, I mean, obviously you sit here today and you're probably like, man, I guess I'm kind of glad I went through what I went through, or would you have opted for another route?
I mean, I would love to see what life is like the easy route. You know what I'm saying? I definitely took the
easy's relative. Easy's relative.
Right.
Everybody thinks that they shit is fucked up.
Somebody got something way worse than me, right?
Yeah, and there's people who got it way great in our opinion, and they think it's fucked up.
Right. But I think that God put me here for a reason. Mm-hmm. I think I think I'm getting to the pinnacle of that reason. So I think all my circumstances and you know, all that I've been through allows me, like I probably wouldn't be sitting here. I'd just be a regular guy who was successful had I not went through what I went through, made some changes, and got a message for the community. That makes me relevant. So what I went through, I think, is just part of me enduring my journey.
Got it.
You know what I'm saying?
All right. Here he is, ladies and gentlemen.
Morrison.
Brother Jay Morrison, man. Shout out to Nigel, too.
Nigel King. That's my manager, my partner. He helped set this up.
Yo.
He stalked Ebro for like...
Yo, listen, I know Lil Nige, man, for a long time, big. Long time. He used to get in trouble, too.
Yeah.
Now you got him wearing suits.
Yo, I met Nye at the Brooklyn Nets game. We was in the suite. He had the Brooklyn Nets fitted the trues. I mean, he was doing his young boy thing. 2 months later, this dude's in Canali suits and Brooks Brothers joints, and he's fresh, and the girls is loving him, and the
girls like the suits, huh?
Yeah, it makes it kind of easy.
Ah,
You're the good guy. Appreciate you. Word.